We are now re-recording. Good morning. It's Texas Thursday already. I don't even know how many we have left, but not a lot, like maybe 4 or 5 this year with all the holidays built in. So I'm excited to start strong today, end the month strong, and the week and the year strong. So Brandon, going to you, what shout outs or what wins, what do you want to share this morning?
What's up? So I wanted to shout out Andrew and Alicia on our team. We've been talking about how to capitalize on our listings now and which deals we could go ahead and bring the buyer to if we have the seller and vice versa. And they double-ended a $599,000 listing that we've been working on.
Dang.
It was on the market for about, I think, 45 days, ended up getting multiple offers, and then they were able to find the win-win on that one. So it's awesome.
All right, like that's awesome. That is maybe for a future Texas Power Up. We want to hear how you guys are doing all these double ends. I love it. Awesome. Thanks, Brandon. Michaela, good morning.
Good morning. I just want to wish, I don't know if she's on the call, but it is Allie Bulmer, our DOS. It is her birthday tomorrow. And so I just wanted to spread some love, and she's been doing a fabulous job after stepping into the role. She's been in it for a little bit now, but she always does a great job. And yeah, I just want to give her some love.
I love that. Happy early birthday, Allie. You are so special to all of us. And it's because you put people first, right? Michaela, you're so sweet too. Remember that. Elizabeth, good morning.
Good morning. I want to shout out Michael Wilson, who's right next to me, my assistant, because I, as kind of like a throwaway comment, said I wanted to start cold calling some lawyers. I'm doing 1,000 contacts challenge by the end of the year. And so I was like, I need people to call. I'm like, oh, that'd be good to just at least start making those conversations. And then this morning on my desk is a list of lawyers for me to call. I didn't ask him to do it, but he knew that was something that I wanted to do. So it's like teamwork and grit and all the sort of things. I'm just like, and not giving me any excuses, right? Now I got to call all these people. So.
Man, I love that. What a winner. And both of you guys, right? Like you've got the goal and you're holding yourself super accountable, clearly, because you just told a whole bunch of people how accountable you're going to be till the end of the year. And I love that, man. Like teamwork makes the dream work. I love it so much, so much. I'm going to shout out Alyssa in Austin. I think she's taking a listing from an open house that she did. So I know we've been talking a lot about open houses, and she's going to be taking a listing. It looks like it's a pretty sizable listing, like good money. And then I want to shout out Brian Miller in Houston, because I think this is like maybe, I don't know, the 6th or 7th or 8th listing he's taken this year from door knocking. So you guys, if all summer long you've been like, oh, I'm not going to door knock because it's too hot. I get it. It's Texas, and guess what? It's not too hot now. So there are so many listings out there for all of us to be able to take. So it is there for us. The business is always there for us if we want it, right? All right. So this morning, I'm super excited because I don't know if you guys have noticed or how you guys are tracking numbers. I know each of our teams tracks just a ton of numbers. But one of the things that we've been tracking here in Austin is expireds and withdrawns and canceled and for sale by owners. And the reason that I'm like seeing such an uptick is because obviously the market has shifted. Well, when we see this huge uptick of like 200% more expireds, withdrawn, canceled, for sale by owners, you have to kind of sit back and think, whoa, like somebody is going to actually take this business, right? And we know that, a third of those sellers are just, not going to ever sell because their price point and what they want for it is probably just out of alignment with the market, right? And we know a third of them might be assholes, and you just don't want to work with them anyway, and you don't need to work with assholes. But a third of them really need your help, and you don't know which third that is until you reach out to them, right? And so I know when I talk about expireds, withdrawns, for sale by owners, canceled, I know most of our people get like heart palpitations, like maybe slight heart attacks. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to bring on someone to just give us a different perspective on this lead gen lever, because I know a lot of us try this lead gen lever. So especially if you have gone through place launch, like you have probably like tried to call expireds before or for sale by owner, and you were either really successful or you weren't. And depending on how you felt about your success, you may have continued it or not continued it. There's no right or wrong. I just wanted to bring a different conversation to the table so that if you wanted to maybe decide, you know, I do want to pull this lead gen lever. And when I say pull a lead gen lever, what I mean is when you pull a lever, you should be confident that on the other side, you're going to get XYZ amount of deals, right? A lot of us can get lucky with 1 or 2 deals, but I was looking for somebody who maybe had more than 1 or 2 deals a year from expireds and for sale by owners. So that's where our friend over here in Seattle is joining us, and I'm pretty excited. I'm going to go ahead and spotlight you really quick for us. Ooh, there you are. Very exciting. I'm going to go ahead just for a second while I'm talking to you. Okay, so this morning, you pronounce your name Eugene?
Hey, good morning. Yes.
Ah, perfect, perfect. Okay, tell us, well, first of all, let me tell you guys about this guy. He would never say, you know, we're all human. We're not going to like tell all the good things. Something that I thought was really interesting about this guy, as I was talking to Twee, who is his team leader, I was like, man, I'm looking for somebody who's like killing it. And I'd prefer it to be in a bigger market, right? Because like if I was in, oh, I don't know, St. Louis, Missouri, right? Like that, you know, like it's not Dallas, right? So like then, you know, like my drunk monkey comes in and it's like, I don't know, like St. Louis, everything's easy in St. Louis, but everything's not easy in Seattle. And you're in a very compatible market to a lot of us. So I wanted to bring you on and I wanted to share with you guys that last year of his 27 units, 14 of those were expired, withdrawn, canceled, for sale by owner. So I would write that down and then I would take my pen or my phone and I would get ready to just take some notes, because that's a lot of deals. That doesn't happen by accident, doesn't happen because you're lucky. It happens because you work for it. So tell us a little bit about yourself. Just give us like the whole like spiel on who you are, how you got into real estate, all of that. Do you have a family, all that stuff? Just give us an intro into who you are so that we know who we're talking to, and then we'll get into it and learn all about how we can do it.
Sure. Well, thanks for having me today. Really appreciate it. So my name is Eugene Adams. I'm from Cape Town, South Africa.
Woo!
And I came to the US in 2017. My wife is from the US. We met while I was working on board cruise ships. I was selling fine art. I was an auctioneer, and I basically did that for a while. I did that for about 10, 11 years, and met my wife. And then we decided, okay, it's time to get back onto land, and because that's a completely different lifestyle. And we thought, okay, it's time to settle down. And we chose Seattle. My wife's from San Francisco. We chose Seattle. Came here in 2017. Wasn't quite sure as to what I was going to do. And my wife thought, okay, well, she's going to start learning a little bit more about real estate and what to do and maybe get into that industry. And I was like, okay, yeah, you do that. Because I couldn't work at that point in any case because of visa situation and things like that. And eventually after, I couldn't work for about a year. Then she got a different job offer, and she paid for the real estate course with Rockwell, and we're like, okay, so we're not going to waste this money. It was like $500 or $600 or so. And she says, why don't you do it? And I was like, oh, shit, okay, I'll do it. And then did that course for 3 weeks. Didn't pass the first time. Went again, did the second time round, and then I passed, of course. And then that's how I started. I didn't know anything about anything. Being from South Africa, I didn't know anything about real estate at all. It's completely different jargon than South Africa. I do own a home in South Africa, but it's very different. Anyway, so came to Keller Williams. I don't know why I chose Keller Williams East Side, but I chose Keller Williams anyway because of the training is what I heard, that they do in-house training and things like that. And that's what I needed because I didn't know anything. Then came in, and of course they had their Ignite classes and things like that, and bold classes. Then I met Tui, and Tui was doing the Ignite class, and I thought, okay, I like this style, and I like the culture with Keller Williams. I like the way they were involved with their agents, and most importantly was the training, because I didn't know anything.
Right.
And then I met Tui, and I liked the way she presented herself, and I liked the way she was talking, that energy. I'm all about energy. And I kind of aligned myself with that. And then I joined with Tui, and I've been here ever since with Tui and Ron. It's 4 years, just about 4 years right now.
I love it because you haven't been doing this for like 40 years. It's only been 4 years, and completely new concept, because you are absolutely right. If you guys ever travel outside of the United States, like look into how they do real estate. It is very different. Most places don't even have an MLS, right? And so I love that. Awesome. So right now you are, what areas do you serve, and what are you seeing in your market?
That's the thing with my mindset. There's no specific area. If you raise your hand and you want to sell or buy, I'm going to go and meet you wherever you are. It doesn't really matter for me. I just go, and that's been the sort of my driving force, is that I don't listen to anything else. I just go and meet them and figure out what I need to do in order to help and build that relationship. The market right now for us, it's hard for me to say, because I feel that, okay, each market is a little bit different, but every person is the same, and so the market really plays a factor, but I just need to figure out what they need out of what's happening in the current market. So can't really answer that question because I don't think that way. I just keep going. And no matter what the market is doing.
Yeah, I want to pause on that. So no matter what the market is doing, people are the same. They need help. Yeah. Like that's a really strong mindset, guys. I love that. Well, that's awesome. So when I reached out to you, and I was like, man, we've got like 200% more expireds and withdrawals and for sale by owners in our areas, and there's a disconnect for our teams in Texas because we're just not really like diving into them. And you're like, oh man, that's too bad. And I was like, oh yeah, that's the right mindset. Oh man, that's too bad. So why is this lead gen lever important to your business? Like, why do you choose it?
When I came, I was pretty nervous because everybody had a sphere, everybody had a network. I had nothing. I didn't know anybody here, and I had to build up. I had to find business, and I felt that if I cancel expired or FSBO, we used to have Make Me Moves as well on Zillow. Those are the people that are raising their hands that's ready to sell, and so why not? That's going to be the quickest sale. When I first started, I never had a lot of patience, and so I just wanted to get going because I knew I could get that done quicker than anything, and because they're ready to sell, and so that's why I focused on cancel expired, because they're going to pick someone, and it might as well be you. And so I chose that, and I tried to get really good at it because that was the only thing that I had. I never had a sphere, I never had a network, and so I had to make sure I could follow up with cancel expired. That's why I chose it.
What's your mindset when you are calling these folks? Like, is there anything that you're thinking about in the back of your head, or do you just get on like the phone and just do it, or whatever?
Yeah, I just get on the phone. I just do it. My mindset is I need to get face to face with this person. That's my mindset. That's my only mindset at that point. I just need to get face to face with someone, because I think that everybody's fearful of being on the phone. And so I think everybody says, well, most people, what I've heard is that I'm not quite good on the phone, but face to face, I'll be much better. And so I kind of kept that in my mind and figured out that that's what I need to do, just get face to face, because I feel more comfortable being face to face in any case. And so that's what I did.
Love that. That is the truth, by the way. You just nailed it. So I want to take this conversation a couple different ways, just for everybody to know where we're going with the conversation. So I'm going to take the conversation, canceled expireds, and in our market, canceled are the same thing as withdraws, right? So canceled expireds, like the appointment setting phase of it, and then canceled expireds, like when you're at the actual appointment, like what happens? What does that sound like? How are you getting 14 out of your 27 deals to close to be from this lead gen lever? And then I want to take the for sale by owner conversation, same thing. I want to talk about, what does that sound like on the phone when we're trying to get in front of them? And then what does it sound like when we are in front of them, right? So I want us to kind of get like the how-tos on both sides, because I know some people do expireds, but they shy away from for sale by owners and vice versa. So I would love to, since you do both, I'd love to dive into both if that's okay with you.
Yeah, sure. Perfect. What it looks like when I get to the appointment, is that what you're asking?
Let's start with let's think about canceled expireds. Say that you just showed up in the morning and you got to call them. Like, what does that even sound like? Does it sound any different in this market right now? Or what's your pitch, I guess? Like, what does it sound like if I'm Eugene and I'm sitting next to you?
Right. So because they cancel expired, they want to sell, and they need a buyer to sell. And initially I started out by saying, look, I have a couple of clients that I'm working with in that area, and I just noticed you came off the market. Just wondering if you would still be open to taking an offer. There's the first part. There's two parts to that, because I switched to both sides of it. The other one is, hey, my name is Eugene with Keller Williams. I'm giving you a quick call. So noticed your property came off the market. We're just putting together a list of off-market properties for a few of our clients in our VIP program because of how crazy the market is. We just want to share with them some extra value. Just wondering if you would still take any offers. At that point, they either say yes or no. I mean, of course, they say yes. And then they always follow up with, but I'm not going to list it. I'm not going to put it back on the market. That's okay. That's perfectly fine. I want to get the diagnosis, and I want to find out what's going on. And the main thing for me is to get someone to talk other than me talking. That's the secret. What I feel, though, is the secret to it is if you can get them talking, you're going to be busy breaking down walls, because you're not the only one calling them. There's everyone else that's calling them as well. So how do I stand out? And it's all about understanding and empathy and really engaging and listening more than you trying to impose your agenda onto someone else. And the minute I start to push that on people, they push back. And so I really try to understand what's going on. And the way I try and figure out if they're still angry with their agent or not is I ask them, so I kind of lead with, I'm pretty surprised as to why I didn't sell. It looks absolutely gorgeous. I mean, I'm looking at the photos right now and it looks like it's in really good shape. And they normally agree. And the more times I can get them to agree with me, the better. The more times it's positive and it's a yes, 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 I know the conversation's going in the right direction. And right after that, I would ask them, so tell me a little bit more about what did people say about your home? I mean, and the minute I say that, they always say people love it. But more so, what did your agent say? What sort of feedback did you get? And then they go into it. Oh, people loved it. They just didn't pull the trigger. Well, how many showings did you get? We didn't get many showings at all, or 1 or 2 a year. And okay, that I could see that. It's a little bit concerning where that's concerned, but nonetheless, I do have a couple of clients that I'm working with in that area. And if we're going to share this on our off-market list, this is my process, Mr. Seller. I like to come by and take a look at the property the same way we qualify our buyers. I want to come by and take a look at the property. So it's just a matter of matchmaking. When would be a good time for me to swing by? Are you available weekdays or weekends? The minute they answer, they'll be like, well, do you have a buyer? I'm like, yes, I do have a buyer. I do have a few buyers because we're on a team, right? And even if I don't have a buyer, I'm pretty positive I can find a buyer. I'll go over, and then the minute they say, yeah, well, weekdays, they kind of, at that point, it's not solid yet. Then I would ask them, this is a little trick that I do. And would you be okay with me coming over and taking a quick video while I'm there? If they say yes to the video, that means they're saying yes for me coming over. If they say no to the video, but okay, no worries, I'll just swing by. So it's either way, I'm gonna go. I never try and sell them anything on the phone. I never try and say, well, I'm the best agent around, because I feel that there's 50 other agents that's going to do the same thing. And then all that they've been trained to do is to say no to everybody that's been calling them. And once I really try and make it about them and understand what the situation is, they're more open for me coming by. Once they say yes, I'll be like, look, if my client decides not to pull the trigger, Mr. Seller, would you be open to me explaining exactly how I get homes sold? So that way, when the time comes when you do want to go back in the market, then at least you have some options. That nails it most times. Most times nails it, because there's no wall. I'm leaving the ball in their court. The minute I get there, completely different. Then I go for the juggler, then I go for the close, then I get into it. But at that point, they don't have this preconceived perception about me being trying to be a big shot agent, or I'm the best. I'll do that when I'm face to face. And that's about it.
I love it. Okay, so I have one question in the chat. Do you ever just stop by rather than calling and asking, or is it always call and set the appointment first?
You have to set it up. If you don't, they feel deceived. They feel like you lie to them. Sure. If you don't tell them that you're going to talk about how you do business, it's going to go south. It's not really going to work well. Sometimes it does, and I've done it before where I didn't mention it, and maybe they were a bit too tense and I couldn't get to that point. The main part is now I went face to face. And if they decide to choose anyone else, if it doesn't sell, I'm going to be the guy that didn't impose my agenda on them. I'm going to be the guy that was friendly. I'm going to be the guy that wanted to understand. I'm going to be the guy who wanted to help. Now I've built up a face-to-face nurture other than a telephonic nurture. And I feel that is way more valuable than anything else.
Okay, I'm going to go to Sarissa here in 1 second. Here's what I wrote down. I hope you guys wrote down just some key points. Something that he said is, this is my process, right? So like, I love that verbiage, right? It's a matter of matchmaking, right? With my buyer. And then he switched it over to, if my buyer doesn't pull the trigger, would you be open to me explaining how we get homes sold, right? So you are setting up the conversation that you're just not just previewing for your buyer. You're also allowing them to know that you'd like to explain how you get homes sold, so that they don't feel deceived when you do start talking about that at the appointment. So you always, I'm going to go Cersei, go ahead.
So anyone who's like thought, well, this isn't really part of my process, or like, meaning this isn't really part of your business plan this year. I would ask, like, who got busy the last couple of years and maybe didn't call their sphere as much as they should have, because I did. And finally on Monday, Brevity Health Day on our team, I sat down and I just like called as many people as I could in my sphere, past clients, etc. Got hold of one lady and she said, oh my gosh, I literally thought you got out of the business because I hadn't heard from you in a while. Now, guys, this is somebody that like, I would have never thought they'd have called anyone else. Like, you got to be kidding. So shame on me. So lesson learned, don't let that be you. Call your people. And she said, we have our house on the market. And I said, oh my gosh, Carrie, what the heck? And I go, okay. And here I'm like so mad at myself. I go, tell me more. And she goes, yeah, it's funny. I actually said yesterday, we should just call Sarissa and ask her advice, because they got this recommendation from another friend, this agent. And she goes, it hasn't sold. It's been on the market 30 something days. And I go, okay, girl, well, no problem. Like, how can I help? And bottom line is, she goes, well, I want to cancel working with him. And can we talk with you? You're still in the business. Can we list with you? I said, yes. So I make an appointment to show up the very next day. Did not warn her that she was going to get inundated with phone calls. So when Eugene is talking about the fact that other people are calling, guys, like I was sitting there for maybe an hour and her phone rang 7 times and it had been going off all morning. So number one, I said, shame on the Dallas team for not being one of those phone calls. We weren't. Secondly, the person who actually set an appointment besides me is in the office right next door. And he used it against me. He goes, well, who's your agent? She goes, Sarissa. And he goes, oh, well, she sits next door to me. You know, she's the CEO and she's not going to have time for you. She's also has little kids and like totally trying to use because of what he knows about me. So I'm sitting there and, but I'm not even going to go into this, but bottom line, I was thinking, number one, are you calling your sphere? Yes, you may not, have this as part of your business plan, but you need to be equipped to go up against people who are going to be more aggressive or assertive or proactive than you. Number two, shame on us for not making more expired canceled calls. And number three, not that I disagree with Eugene, but as I was sitting there watching her phone ring, I thought, man, if somebody actually just showed up at the door with a really friendly face and said, I saw your home came on the market and I was in the area. I just thought I'd stop by and see what was up. And if I could have a conversation with you, I just thought that person might have stood out versus all of the people that they finally just turned their phones off. So that's my thought, is door knock them cold potentially without even making an introductory phone call. I think that's what I would do now, being sitting there watching their phone ring as much as it did. So those are just my couple of things, if that added any value to anybody.
I love that. Sarissa said a really important word. You need to be equipped. Whether this is or isn't your lead gen lover, if you're not equipped, it's really nice to be able to do this, because you're always going to be competing with someone. And if you think you're not, ask yourself, did I call my sphere quarterly last year and the year before? Because if you didn't, guess who slid in? Somebody else slid in, and good for them. They earned that right? So I love that. And I don't know that there's a right or a wrong way to do it. I don't know that it's wrong to door knock them. Unfortunately, we don't have enough data because we don't freaking do it enough in Texas. So let's get some data, and then we can go back and be like, hey, Eugene, here's what's working for us. And then we can be like real partners and share information versus poor Eugene has to tell us all the things. Right on. I love the conversation, love the transparency and the honesty. Okay, so Eugene, you're getting, I know you are setting the appointment on the phone and then you go to the appointment, right? Right now you're not door knocking them cold. So you show up at the appointment. What happens? Walk us through this canceled expired appointment.
Yeah, I can do that. Just to go back to the conversation still on the phone, one of the things that I've always liked doing, and after you do it for so many times, you get a feel for people. Most of them are the same. They have all the similar anger issues, all the same type of thing. But I would say this is my process. I come by, I like to pre-qualify the home, and I'll take a quick video and then get an idea of exactly what the home is. A lot of the times they'll give me an objection. Well, you can look at the photos. And the reason why I say that, or I want to do the video, is that if I'm going to share this with my off-market list, I'm going to do the video. My clients would like to see me on the video sharing the home with them. And that's how I overcome that objection. But I keep going. I booked the appointment in the middle somewhere, and I keep going slightly. But this could be tricky because you could talk yourself out of the appointment.
Okay.
For the most part. But what I do is I just try and get a little bit more information. For example, the main questions, because I need to find out the motivation as well. So the other question is, do you have a place to go to when this sells? I know it sounds like yeah, of course I do, but I just need them to answer. And where were you moving to? Trying to get an idea why they were selling the home in the first place. Because that's important, because I don't know if it's the same with you guys, 60 days to reset the days on market. to make it a 0 day on market. So there's that, because if they were more than 100 days on the market, I'm trying to think forward as to how I'm going to list. Do I push them really hard when I get face to face, or do I kind of take it easy? And so I always get a little bit more information after the fact, a few questions after, and then, hey, what's a good email address so I can send you a Google Calendar invite for my records and for yours? And that really works well, because then it becomes official. It becomes a little bit more of a business conversation for my records and yours. And I feel like, I don't know why, but mostly in Washington, we have a lot of C-type personalities and very detailed. I'm all about personalities. The DISC assessment is super, super important for me. And you can kind of gauge, if you've broken down those walls, how much information they're giving you. And that's when I can understand if this is going to be a really good one, or, I put them into different levels. I get to the appointment, depending on how good the conversation goes. Sometimes we get into a conversation where they really listening to me, like they really like me, and I would always end the conversation with, hey, once I get there and I do tell you exactly how I do homes, and you feel comfortable and confident that I could get your home sold, would you be ready and willing to get the paperwork going? That's a good way to end the conversation at times, if it's going really well. Once I get there, the team that are on the team, they always laugh at me, because no matter what the house looks like, I would always walk in and be like, wow, this is nice. You've done an awesome job. Wow, look at that. You did that yourself. And oh, you did that. They love talking about their home. They love it, love it. And I would just feed into that energy, and they'll talk a little bit more, find a little bit more about their motivation. And then I just get into it, and I explain after I've done the whole tour. When I get in there, sometimes they will say, well, there's the house, go and take a look. It's very important to do this. Before they even say that, just when you walk in, shoes off, always, because sign of respect. And then I would always ask them to give me the grand tour. Always, because that's an opportunity to ask more questions and build more rapport. And then I kind of talk to them in the lines of diagnosis as to what really went wrong here. And I focus on that diagnosis, because they are, at that point, they have no idea. For them, their home is the best house on the street. And so they don't know why it didn't sell. And a lot of times sometimes they're overpriced, or there's a busy street and things like that. But for the most part, I found that agents tell people what they want to hear a lot of the times. And I found what goes a long way is if you break it down in a very respectful way as to what you think went wrong. And I always try and tell them that I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just, in my opinion, in my experience, this is what I feel went wrong here. And I think I could do a better job. Here's what I'll do different. Because sometimes it does take a new approach and different ideas. And I would like to share that with you. Once you set it up that way, they're more inapt to listen to you, because you make them understand that it's just a different approach. It's just new ideas. Surely it wouldn't hurt to hear what I have to say in those lines. And that's the kind of angle I use when I speak with people.
I love that. What usually happens at these appointments? How do you end it? Like, do you just say, all right, well, thanks for letting me tour it? Or like how,
yeah.
But how do you like kind of, how do you bookend it?
Yeah. After I've gone through the listing presentation and I use the trend graphics, I go through each part of it, what the county is doing. I first show them the county sheet. So I have such a system in place that I do all the time. I'm trying to think exactly how I do it. Sort of autopilot at this point. But I do the trend graphics with the county. And I'll show them exactly what the county's doing, how many homes on the market. You'll be surprised, but a lot of agents don't do that trend graphics with them. And I just do it to make them understand that there's a system in selling a home. There's a way to do it. It's not just, I'm the agent, I make up my mind on what the price is going to be. And it doesn't work that way. We do it based on what the market is doing and based on what your motivations, whatever it may be. And I go through the county trend graphics, price per square foot, average days on the market, list to price ratio. Very important for me to share that with them. And it just sounds good. Whenever people see numbers, I always feel that numbers don't lie. So it's not me telling them, it's the numbers. Then what I do after that is, look, Mr. Seller, I went even further and I did a little bit more research, and of course the county doesn't really pertain to you at this point. I want you to make sure that we do a little bit more research within your zip code. And I do the zip code based on their price point in a price range. And what I do with that zip code trend graphic, and I say, well, that's your zip code, right? And that's just a little, that's in my mind. If I get them to say yes as many times as possible, then I'm winning. I collect little wins as I go through the conversation. So if they say yes, that means they're agreeing with me, setting them up to agree with me on the next few things as we go on. I would do the entire listing presentation, question-based. Does that make sense to you? How do you feel about that? And this and that. And at the end of it, before I start, actually, I would always ask them, what's the 3 most important things to you when working with an agent like myself? That's very important. And the other important thing at the end is, so based on the information that I just gave you, Mr. Seller, 1 to 10, how confident do you feel that I could get your home sold? Always, 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 without fail. I don't pressure people. That's the difference with what I do. I really don't, because I know somebody else might have booked that appointment. Some other person is going to pressure them sometimes. And this is just my way of doing things. So I try not to be aggressive. I try to understand more. And this is the tricky part. If it doesn't work, I don't put myself under pressure. The world is not going to end. If they don't work with me, that's fine. Because once we call it, once you have that energy, they feel it, that you only there for commission check. That's the commission breath that we have. And I feel that doesn't help anything at that point, because they feel that you, like Tui always says, people don't care what you know until they know that you care. Right? And I try to lead with that. And that works for me so much so. And if they decide not to, I have them in my database. I told them exactly what's going on. I didn't lie. I didn't tell them what they want to hear. I know for a fact they're going to self-discover and make up their mind. And if it doesn't work, because I've booked so many appointments face-to-face, it's a numbers game at the end. One of them, if I book 10, 3 or 4 is going to do business with me. And that's how I do it. If they say 7, what would make it a 10? If they say an 8, what will make it a 10? Always. And then, well, it sounds like you're ready to work with me. Let's go ahead and get the paperwork done. I start right away with the seller's disclosure form, and I just get into it. And I just go without.
Is there ever a time that you try to get an intentional no so that they feel like they are getting a win, or are you always trying to get to yes?
Yeah, the no, that's a good question. No's, yeah. Yes, definitely. I try to, because yeah, you're right. I'm trying to think about how I do it. Yes, it cannot be all rosy and perfect, right? And so you have to have that balance, and that's such a good question. So yes, I do give them a bit of a challenging questions. Sometimes they say, well, that's not what I agree with. And those really work, because that's when you understand and you show them that you're not going to try and change their mind on something. You're just going to understand. So I completely understand. And if I were you, I'd feel the same way. Got it.
I love that. And Twee said that your conversion rate right now is about 1 out of 3 will list with you. I love that. Great job, bud. If we were talking about for sale by owners, what does that sound like? How is that different?
Slightly different. It's again the same angle. I do things what makes me comfortable. If I'm comfortable,
Okay.
and I'm confident, if I'm comfortable, they'll be comfortable. The minute you tense, people pick up on it. I feel with energy. For example, when I call, I'm standing, or I walk, or I pace. That makes me comfortable. I do whatever it takes. I do whatever I need to do to get the job done. For sale by owner, wow.
Yeah, if you're calling a for sale by owner, what does that sound like as opposed to you just came off the market?
Yeah, for sale by owner. For sale by owner is about breaking down walls. They just angry off the bat whenever you give them a call. They just always kind of angry, and they're upset with agents because I found for the most part they've had a bad experience. And that's why they like this with agents a lot of the times. So for sale by owner, my conversation is in the sense of, my name is Eugene with Keller Williams. I'm looking at your property over here. I've got a few clients that I'm working with in that area, and we also have a list of off-market properties, the whole introduction. I'm trying to get an idea. I'm looking at the photos. I'm trying to get an idea on the condition of your property right now. My first question is, are these photos recent? And then they just start talking. I try and work it with, we have clients because that's what they want. When they talk about the home and the condition, as they get into it, I would say, or better yet, if I were to give you a scale between 1 and 10, 10 being the best, what number would you rate your home when it comes to the condition of the property itself? They, of course, would always say it's a 7 or 8. And I always ask them, what would make it a 10? Same thing. Then they would tell you, oh, nothing much. I think you need new carpets. Maybe the kitchen needs to be updated. And for the most part, I'll just agree with them. I'll say, oh, sounds like it's just cosmetic then. Then they get super excited. Yeah, it's only cosmetic. The main thing is I get them to talk as much as possible. I would go on to asking them where they going to move to when this property sells. Do they have a place to go to? And how soon would they need? What's their timeline? How soon do they need this property to close? Then I go next on the list is, and just real quickly, Mr. For sale by owner, on the price, how did you come up with that price point? Was it an appraisal or comparables? This is very, very important for me, because I want to know if they have a friend or an agent who's helped them out with comparables. I want to know how much they know. And the reason for that is a lot of the times they'd say, oh, I just got this on the Zillow, on the Zestimate. And at that point, I'll be like, yes, they don't know much. They need help. They don't know what's going on. Or they'd say, yeah, I got an appraisal. When did you get that appraisal? 4 years ago. All right. Okay. So now I understand that they still don't know what's going on. They're trying their hand. So there's a reason why they didn't go with an agent. If they didn't say, oh, I have a friend that just helped me, there's a reason why they didn't go with that agent, with that friend. Then we go into it a little bit more. So let's say, Mr. For sale by owner, if I were to come by and get one of my clients to buy your property, are you offering a buyer agent commission at all? They'd be, yeah, we offering 2.5 or 3%. Whatever they say, I don't challenge it. Why are you offering 1%? What's wrong with you? I'll be like, yeah, no problem. It's just a matter of me knowing. Because what I'm going to do right now, Mr. For sale by owner, is that I'm going to share your property when I get there to your property. I'm going to share this with a few of my team members. And the first thing they're going to ask me is, what commission are you offering? So that's the reason for my asking. Because a lot of the times they question our questions. Why they never trust you right off the bat. The main thing with for sale by owner is that I don't challenge them. I just want to get there and see the home. So again, sort of in line with what the cancel expired would do. So I do have a couple of clients. I want to come by, take a look at the property, get a better idea of it. Would you be okay with me taking a video? The same sort of thing. Then, Mr. Seller, so just real quickly, how long are you going to test it for sale by owner until you do decide to go on the actual market? And I say that because I want them to say, well, this is on the market. Well, no, you're not. You for sale by owner, the market is making it available to everybody. How many websites are you on at the moment? I always ask them, are you only on Zillow at this point, or are you on any other websites? The reason why I ask that question is I want them to say, oh, we're on about 3 or 4, 5, 6, whatever it may be, websites. Because I'm going to tell them that we syndicate to 76,000 websites, right? When I go there, this is the part I forgot to mention with the cancel expired as well. When I go there, let's say they say, well, we're gonna wait 10 days. Again, if I don't get to match one of my clients up with a property, would you be open to me telling you exactly how I get home sold? So that time, when that time comes, that's the part. When that time comes, then at least you have some options. Because when I do that, the ball's in their court, right? I'm not pressuring them. You're going to list with me today. You're going to list with me tomorrow. I do get a little bit more aggressive when I get face-to-face. When I start asking closing questions, I just need to get face-to-face with people. Yeah, and then of course get the email address and things like that. And
so then when you get to the for sale by owner appointment, is it very similar to the canceled expired, or is there anything else that you do differently?
Very similar, very similar. The difference
You're doing
though,
like the video walkthrough
Yeah.
for your clients.
Yes.
They're giving you the grand tour. Then
Yeah.
you guys talk about the seller experience, and you're going over some trend graphics with them, and then you close them a couple different ways.
yeah,
Yes?
for sale by owner, a little bit different. For sale by owner, as do you have the and Mr. For sale by owner, when I get there, do you have the seller's disclosure form 17? And I asked that question because I want to know, I'm qualifying them as I ask these questions. How much do they know? You know, because sometimes they don't know. They just need to put it on. They just do that sort of thing. And you'll be amazed by how little they know. And they get information from people that's completely wrong. Oh, what's that form? Oh, no worries. I'll bring one for you. If they don't have it, that's awesome, because now I can get an actual form contract in front of them. And there's nothing, they don't feel uneasy at all. And I'll talk to them about it. At that point, like, look, this property is amazing. This is the part that I forgot to mention with cancel expired. This property is amazing, more so for sale by owner. You need to make this available to everyone. Look at this. This is amazing. I mean, Mr. Seller, I can bring you a buyer. I can bring you a buyer all day. But it's going to take a little bit longer. How do you think you're going to make more money with one buyer incrementally, or with all the buyers at the same time? Then we get into the conversation about this is what we'll do, because it makes sense. It's just got to make sense to people that how are you going to make more money? How are you going to net more money with one buyer or with all the buyers at the same time? Yes, I am killing them with logic. That's exactly what I do.
I love that. I love that. One buyer incrementally, or all buyers at the same time. That's a good line. Do you have any specific closes that you like, either for sale by owners or canceled expireds? Anything that you kind of go to?
It's mostly the 1 to 10.
Okay.
How confident do you feel that I could get your home sold? But it's gotta be backed by energy as well. It's gotta be backed by energy. You can't just you gotta get excited for them. You gotta let them really feel that their house is amazing. It's gotta be available to everyone. And based on that energy, I can tell them, let's just do it now. Why wait? What's the issue? Let's just do it now. Let's get it on the market, get it out there. Because Mr. For sale by owner, nobody's getting any money until it sells. You're not getting any money. I wouldn't get any money until it sells. So all you're doing at this point is allowing me to market your property. And I can do that really well because it really does take a little bit more work. And this is what I found with for sale by owner is that they feel that agents don't do work. And so when you tell them that it takes more work, we don't do the 3 Ps of real estate, place the sign out there, put it on the MLS and pray and hope somebody comes to buy it. I do the legwork. And what I do, Mr. For Sale by Owner, is this is where we'll start. Normally we list on a Thursday. Do Thursdays work for you? Yes. Okay. Normally we list on a Thursday. So those are soft closes that I do throughout. And what we do on that Thursday is I have a system in place that I can drop on the entire neighborhood and I'll call everyone. And there's a few questions that I ask them. Number one is, who do you know who wants to be in the neighborhood? Statistically, we get about 9% sales from the neighborhood. And that's a great place to start. Wouldn't you agree? Yes. Yeah, that is a great place to start. And we call everyone. When I find out that somebody does indeed have someone to want to buy in that neighborhood, there's a few other questions I asked them, Mr. For Sale by Owner, is that do they have an agent? And if they do not have an agent, Mr. For Sale by Owner, you're going to net more money because I do not do dual agency. And I can tell you how we do that. And we get into a little bit more. So I do soft closes throughout, other than an aggressive close straight up.
I love that. I love that. Brandon, I saw your hand. Do you have a question or do you have something to add?
Yeah, it could be at the end. I just wanted to jump in with gratitude and share something about Expireds on our team.
Okay, awesome. Awesome. You know, one thing that Eugene, that I know about you is you also took over the director of sales role this year. So you have a very busy life. How do you manage it all? Like, you know, obviously selling lots of real estate, right? How do you manage it all? Is there anything that you can share with us as far as that really quick?
Oh, 100%. Just strict time blocking.
Okay.
Put it on the calendar, time block, no distractions, and just focus. I love being busy. And I don't care how busy I get. I would rather work until 7, 8 p.m. other than just sit and not do anything. So I don't mind being busy because I feel that being an independent contractor and being you know, in control of your time, it's easy to fall into a slump where you could just really make the time work for you and not do anything. So I'd rather take this as a clock in, clock out job where I come in 8 p.m. and leave 5 p.m. If I keep that mindset, I know I'm working. So being busy doesn't really bother me that much. But when it comes to lead generation and time blocking is of utmost importance. That's how I do it.
And you were telling me that, because when I said, hey, 6:30 in the morning is going to be early for you, you said, oh, that's like 2 hours into my morning.
Yeah,
what does that mean?
Yeah, I wake up 4:30, 5 a.m. I go for a run. If I do not run, I'm not on my game. If I don't do any sort of exercise, and being Washington, being from South Africa, I love the warmth, but I've learned to embrace the cold, and that's my cold plunge in the morning. And it wakes me up, and the air is clean, and it's good for the mindset. So I've always woken up really early because I feel like that's nobody else has that air and that time in the morning. That's all mine. And I get the day started that way. And the early bird catches the worm, because we used to do power-ups and gratefuls in the mornings, and my foot would be going like this because I want to be on the call, because I know somebody else is going to be there before me. And so that eliminates my anxiety for being up early.
I love that. I love that. Anything that you would share with us, you know, as we're entering the final leg of the year, any advice that you're giving your people, yourself, or you want to give us?
Yeah, for me, the end of the year is I think extremely crucial, because now I'm planning for next year. I front load everything. And so at this point, it should be, I mean, the business you've had, you should have made quite a bit so that you can focus on the next year coming. And so I'm at this time of the year, I'm starting to fill the tank for next year. And so if that would be my advice to you is planning ahead and building up that database for the next year, and just then you just keep going, you set yourself up, and you know, you'll be fine moving on for the next year.
I love that. I love that you give us hope that just 4 years ago, you had no idea what even real estate in America looked like. And, you know, you're in an area that's, you know, very competitive, and you are choosing to succeed. So I love, love, love that. Brendan, I'm going to go to you real quick. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I just love the call. Thanks, Eugene and Adeline, obviously, for putting this together, and Twee, and for y'all jumping on early. But expireds, I mean, yeah, they're awesome. I never understand, honestly, why we wouldn't be calling them. They're right there, raise their hand. But the door knocking got brought up, which I figured I would share. When I was in Austin doing a lot more prospecting and production, I started door knocking a lot to get out of the calls, and that wasn't sustainable. So I just wanted to share that. So getting on the phone the way it's in the model is the fastest way you're going to be able to talk to somebody. But where we do try to integrate door knocking on our team is close to our house, right? So on the way home, anybody could stop and door knock that. So if you've already left them a voicemail to say, hey, you know, this is Brandon with the Ben Kinney team, I had a question about your house or whatever, when you knock on their door, and I had success with this previously, I'd be like, hey, Adelina, it's me. I left you that voicemail. Just wanted you to know I was a real person. I live down the road. Well, you know, your house came off the market. And sometimes you'd be able to walk right into a listing appointment. The other thing, we led this call with leveraging listings. We've already done a lot of work in the previous market as a team. We should take advantage of that. So another way to get the low-hanging fruit with expireds that, you know, I was able to do previously was I would find our team listings that have sold or my own listings, and then I would go back and find those expireds in those same subdivisions. And now that we have huge increases in expireds month over month, that's an easy call, right? And then if you're going to door knock them or something like that after, that makes sense too. But it's like, hey, Adelina, I just wanted to follow up. I saw your house just didn't sell, and we just like sold your neighbor's house 3 doors down. And it's such an easy introduction because you're not calling with, hey, you know, like Eugene said, the energy is totally different and the confidence is different too. But just some ways to, you know, leverage the stuff we've already done in the past that our competitors didn't do. They don't have a huge sold inventory like we do, right? So we could get out there and pull those in. So if you're looking for a little bit of confidence on adding this to your business, couple ways you could do that, and then just lead with the energy and the systems, like Eugene said. Great call.
Love it, man. Eugene, thank you for taking the time this morning.
Oh, thank you.
Absolutely, very, very grateful. Everyone, thank you so much for being on the call. This will be available on the Texas Power Up playlist here probably in about an hour or so, as long as it takes just to get it up there. Man, appreciate you guys. Would love to hear your wins. Would love to hear your wins. Eugene would love to hear your wins. So appreciate you guys. Have a good rest of your day, and we'll see you again next week. Bye, guys.
Bye.